This episode is being sponsored by Travel Perfection and more. If you're looking to travel, go on excursions, need flights, hotels, planning events, or you just need assistance with rental cars, contact them today at 480 264 7203. That's 480 264 7203. You can also find them on the web at www.travelperfectionandmore.com. Let's build. You're now, that's what's important. We experience a collapse in our life structure most of the time because we failed to funeralize failed yesterdays. You have to be strong enough basically to realize you can elevate out of your current situation. Instead of looking at where you think you should be by now, look at where you have grown out of. There are many individuals who need help with their blueprint, and I want to be that vessel, nothing special, just that mouthpiece to inspire you to construct the best version of your life that you can be. Welcome back to another insightful episode of the LifeStruction podcast. I am your host, Eric. Give yourself a hand clap, life builders, for showing up for one more episode. Thank you for being here. On my last episode, we talked about refinancing your faith. And man, first of all, I want to thank everyone that reached out to express to me how they were blessed by that episode. It definitely was confirmation that I'm doing exactly, what I'm supposed to be doing. And what God has given me to share is definitely being received. Definitely being received. So, yeah, thank you guys, for those emails that I received last week, the emails, the text messages, the inboxes that basically talked, and a lot of you kind of shared some scenarios with me of some things that you had went through that you felt like you weren't, you're in a pretty dark place, and you talked about how you lost your faith and how you felt that it was no way pretty much for you to bounce back from it. And it's a really bad place to be when you have something that go on in your life and you kind of lose faith. It's a really bad place to be. I received feedback from people, that had lost a loved one. This one person, they said that they found out after 15 years of marriage that their spouse was cheating. And not only were they cheating, they were cheating, basically had got involved in the same sex relationship, after 15 years. There was another one that talked about they lost a business. And then there was a pretty good friend of mine that when we talk pretty often, and they were basically talking about, when they got diagnosed with that life-threatening illness. And when you're a believer and you totally love the Lord and you go through one of those dark seasons, it can totally dismantle your faith. It can totally dismantle your faith. And, it can be very, very challenging, very uncomfortable. But one of the things that I know firsthand is basically you you know, finding a way to heal is mandatory. Because guess what? If you stop praying and you let your faith die, and you don't seek support, because basically when you stop praying and you let your faith die, basically all you have left is basically reaching out to, you know, your family members, your friends, or finding a therapist that can help you get through this dark time. Because if you fail to reach out and you isolate, what happens is you start to basically search for that dopamine fix. You know, you're searching for something to numb that pain by any means necessary. You know, getting involved in a relationship for all the wrong reasons. You know, and basically you just want to be attached to this person just so you can get sex out of them, because that sex is basically filling that empty hole in your heart. You know, some people, they turn to drugs and alcohol. Some, you know, they constantly eat nonstop. You know, basically food becomes their comforter. Some spend money just shopping and traveling, you know, basically running from their ground zero. And some people, you know, they just straight up start to hate life and basically push everyone away. And most of the time, 6 months to a year, you have did nothing but left a path of total destruction. You know, that wrecking ball just have come and destroyed everything that you basically touched, all of your possessions, everything. You know, your life just you're living a life of havoc. I remember one of my mentors, he shared this illustration with us about a locomotive train. You know, just think of yourself, because we all have been here. Think of a time that you've been the red light, because most of the time it's a red light. So that red light turns to red, and then those two arms, those red and white barriers, they come down, and basically you have to stop. You have to come to a complete stop. And this train basically has made a stop, you know, somewhere like in an industrial area. And when they stop in these areas, they stop to add more cars, because they're headed in a direction where they're delivering all of these goods. So they stop, you know, to add more train cars. But what happens when it takes off? It moves real slow, because what has it done is it has added more weight. And that's what we do. We add all these train cars to our train of thoughts when we don't take the time, you know, when we lose faith and we stop praying and we start chasing all of the wrong things in life because we fail to reach out and ask for help when we're in that dark season in our life. And what we do, we add all these train cars to our thoughts. You know, the train car of porn, the train car of drugs, the train car of money, the train car of isolation. And this weight becomes so unbearable, and it eventually does nothing but slows us down, and a lot of times brings our life to a complete halt. And you know, sometimes the enemy will lead you to believe there's no way out, and convinces you that suicide is the best way out. It's crazy, you know, and we see it play out over and over, because there are so many brothers and sisters, and technically we're seeing more brothers today committing suicide than I've ever seen in my life. But, you know, we're in that dark spot and we fail to open our mouth and reach out to others. And we stay in that dark spot for so long, and we've indulged in everything that we possibly could to numb that spot, and the numbness wear off. And then in our mindsets, because we have forgotten how to pray, we don't have any faith anymore, and we're thinking, well, I've tried this and I've tried this, and if it's only numbed me for so long. And then your mind convinces you to take your life. We seek all of the wrong things in life to numb the pain and fill that hole in our hearts. And basically, getting entangled in situations that give you temporary pleasure, it separates you from your purpose. Separates you from your purpose. And the enemy's prime focus is to mute you by giving you temporary pleasure. And you get so caught up in that good temporary feeling of numbness that you forget that it's not right. It's wrong on all levels. And guess what? All you need is a hug. All you need to do is talk to someone and release what is tearing at your insides, and allow that person to pour some inspiration, some prayer, and hug you tight and whisper in your ear, my brother, my sister, it's going to be all right. And assure you that you will not go through what you are going through alone. Yeah, that's it. A lot of times, we reach out for sex. You reach out, you spend money because money is your comforter. You have that female or male that basically tickle that certain spot, and that's your comforter. A lot of us, we work uncontrollably because we don't want to face life and take the time to stop and face what's really going on. That's your comforter. And all at the end of the day, you're chasing all of this stuff, and all you need is for somebody to hug you tight and squeeze you. And that will numb you. And it's so warming and soothing when someone can genuinely hug you and let you know that they're there for you. It's so warming. So warming. I remember when COVID came and people would shoot those texts. They were sending texts out, basically saying, hey, just checking in, sending you virtual hugs. And I can literally tell you, I can be going through something sometimes, and out of nowhere, someone would send me an encouraging text message. And basically the way that it's worded, it falls right in line with what I may be going through at that time. So I encourage you to send those virtual hug texts to everyone that that's going through something. Post it on your timeline. Matter of fact, tag LifeStruction with Eric on that post so I can chime in as well. I encourage you guys, send those text messages, send them out, and send some encouraging words to people that is going through something. Stop putting it off saying, what, I got to reach out to this one. I got to reach out to that one. Take the time and reach out to them and send those encouraging texts. Post it on your social media. Hey, send them virtual hugs to you for this, for, whatever it is they may be going through, and like I said, tag me in that post as well. Tag LifeStruction with Eric in that post, and I'll chime in, to give them, an extra hug, to speak into their life and encourage them, because there are so many people that need that. They need that. And guess what? Don't get bent out of shape if they don't respond to that text. Send them one every week. The more you send it, the more that they really going to start to receive those hugs, and they will respond. They will respond to you. But more than anything, if this episode is speaking to you, don't be so scared and stubborn to reach out to people when you're going through something. Open your mouth and confide in them and ask them to support you. Do not let your train derail. Stop adding all those extra train cars onto your train. Do not let your train derail. On any given day, we can experience a collapse in our life, which brings numbness and disappointments, because guess what? Everything that I talked about at the beginning, that some of the people reached out to me and talked about how that last episode helped them, and they described some of the stuff that they had went through. At some point in life, there is someone else that went through the same thing that they have went through. But no matter where you are on this pathway of your life, do not let your pain of your current or past situation hinder the glory of the amazing future that God has for you. So guess what? If you have listened up to this point, I want you to know that you have the ability to be great. Instead of adding on train cars filled with flesh that will only weigh you down, dig deep within to find the strength to push past those obstacles. It's mandatory. It's mandatory to take these difficult moments in life and block out the world. Walk and pray yourself back to the place where God has called you to be. Reclaim your faith. Sheesh. Reclaim your faith. Man, you got to go in and reclaim your faith back. You have to. You have to. Like Congressman Maxine Waters said a few years back, she said, I'm reclaiming my time. I'm reclaiming my time. I encourage you to go and reclaim your faith, man. Reclaim your faith. It's mandatory. God placed purpose in all of our lives. And yeah, when we have those life-changing issues to come through and just bring our life to a screeching halt, it's very hard to get back on track. But it's not meant for you to do it alone. But if you have lost your faith in God, then all you can do is reach out and cry out for help. And I guarantee you, someone is standing by waiting to give you a hug. Someone is standing by waiting to give you a hug. So as we conclude today's episode, remember, you must engage in self-care. Focus on positive aspects and consider mindfulness and spiritual practices to help you rebuild your faith. Remember, healing is a process that varies for everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the LifeStruction podcast. Be sure to subscribe and share this episode with anyone who could benefit from learning how to reclaim their faith. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes that empower and enrich our lives. Until next time, this is your host, Eric, signing off. Peace.